Welcome back to Minty, and this is our final part classifying organisms based on the CSEC biology syllabus. And today will be the plant kingdom. Let's get straight into it. So we're going to go back to some basics, looking at the parts of a plant. Now, we can look at based on the root system and the shoot system. Shoot, if you want to think of like a rocket shooting up. So what is above the ground? And the root system is what's below the ground. Now, we want to look at the stem. The stem is what supports the plant. The fruit is what protects the seeds. The leaf is what performs photosynthesis, which is what we know as the plant's way of making its own food. And the flower is what helps in further reproduction. And then lastly, the root system is what contains the roots. It absorbs the water and minerals from the soil. So the first group we're going to look at is algae. Algae actually lacks proper stems, roots, and leaves. And you can tell in this picture, you can't really make out any stem, any roots, no real leaves, but it's green, usually. It can be red or brown, and it tends to grow in damp places with water surrounding, right? And an example of this is sea moss. Now we're going to go to the next group, bryophytes. So bryophytes have simple stems and leaves, and also simple root-like structures. It tends to produce by spores. Which group of living organisms also reproduces by spores? If you said fungi, you're absolutely correct. Now, bryophytes are found in damp or shady places, and an example is moss. So you can see that it's almost growing on this bark. That's what we call a bryophyte. So it has simple stems, simple leaves, simple root-like structures. The third group we're looking at, ferns. Now, some of you might have seen this around the place. A very popular plant. It has proper roots, proper stems, and proper leaves. And it reproduces by spores as well. And it's also found in damp places. So this is the fern. So the next group we're going to look at are conifers. Now, conifers are large plants with proper roots, stems, and leaves. And these leaves tend to be needle-shaped leaves. And they reproduce by seeds contained in cones. And you can remember this when you think about con in cones and conifers. And an example of this plant are pines. Now we're going to flowering plants. Now, flowering plants is a broader heading, but it simply represents plants that have proper leaves, stems, and roots, reproducing by seeds within fruits. Now, we can divide it into two categories, monocotyledons and dicotyledons. Mono meaning one cotyledon. Di meaning two cotyledons. Now, monocotyledons, their leaves tend to be narrow, with straight parallel veins. You can look in this picture, and if you look at the leaves, you see that there's a pattern of straight lines parallel to each other. These are the veins, so they have straight parallel veins in their leaves. These plants also have a seed which has an embryo with one cotyledon. And an example of this are grasses or sugarcane. Dicotyledons, as we said, di meaning two. So the seed has two cotyledons. And these plants tend to have broad leaves. You see, let's compare. This is a bit narrow. And then the dicotyledon plants, it's broad. So the leaves are broad and they have a network of veins. So you see that they're not parallel to each other. They have a network of veins, almost like a web. An example of this is a hibiscus plant. So this is an image just to simply recap on flowering plants, monocotyledonous plants, and we can look at as an example, corn, and dicotyledonous plants, for example, bean. So on the left, the monocotyledonous plant has a single cotyledon and has parallel veins. So it grows to create a plant with parallel veins versus a dicotyledonous plant that has two cotyledons, di meaning two, and it has neck-like veins on its leaves. Okay, and that is the end of our lesson. If you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And we will see you in the next video. Bye!